In the winter of 1940, inside a water purification facility in Harbin, two young women locked behind a heavy metal door made a final request. They were starving, exhausted, and bruised. But they didn't ask a passing technician for food or freedom. They asked for a small mirror, simply to see their own faces one last time. Knowing the extreme rules of the facility, the technician risked his life to slide a mirror through a small hole in the door. He couldn't save them. Days later, those same two women were strapped to an operating table and dissected alive, completely conscious with zero painkillers. Highly trained medical doctors held the scalpel that day, operating under the strict parameters of state-sponsored research. This document is the 1925 Geneva Protocol. After chemical agents like chlorine and mustard gas drowned millions in their own bodily fluids during World War I, the international community universally agreed to ban biological and chemical weapons. While the rest of the world saw a clear moral boundary, a Japanese army doctor named Shiro Ishii saw an endorsement. His hypothesis was brutally pragmatic. If these weapons were dangerous enough to be globally banned, they must be highly effective. For an empire lacking the massive industrial factories of the West, biological warfare offered a devastatingly cheap, scalable shortcut to military dominance. Developing and testing banned weaponized diseases requires an enormous footprint. Ishii needed a massive laboratory completely insulated from international press, civilian oversight, and legal consequence. In 1931, the Japanese military manufactured an excuse to invade and occupy Manchuria, a massive region in northeast China, by detonating a weak explosive on their own railway line and blaming local dissidents. This manufactured geopolitical crisis gave Ishii exactly what his dark science required: an isolated, lawless territory and an unlimited supply of human test subjects harvested from the newly occupied population. Ishii's new laboratory, built in Pingfang, was enormous. Spanning 6 square kilometers with over 150 buildings, it featured its own power plant and airfield. To the outside world, it was officially designated as an epidemic prevention and water purification plant. To maintain the illusion of a nearby lumber mill and to completely detach themselves from the humanity of their prisoners, the medical staff used a specific vernacular. The thousands of men, women, and children brought inside were exclusively referred to as Maruta, meaning logs of wood. At the end of the day, staff wouldn't ask how many people died. They asked how many logs had fallen. Many prisoners arrived weak, sick, or starving from grueling interrogations. But before any tests began, the doctors prescribed a surprisingly rich diet of rice, meat, and fish to nurse them back to absolute peak physical condition. This chart visualizes their clinical logic. The doctors argued that experimenting on malnourished or sick individuals would yield corrupted data. They demanded perfect physiological baselines. Their priority was pure research, stripping away all medical ethics to ensure their datasets were flawless. Once a subject was perfectly healthy, the vivisection trials began. Doctors intentionally infected subjects with diseases like cholera and the bubonic plague, then cut their abdomens open to observe the pathogens destroying internal organs in real time. They routinely stuffed rags into the mouths of the conscious subjects to muffle the screams. The surgical teams explicitly documented their refusal to use anesthesia, noting in their reports that pain-killing drugs would artificially alter the physiological data they were trying to extract. The scope of testing covered every possible battlefield variable. A researcher named Hisato Yoshimura specialized in frostbite. He forced prisoners outside in -40-degree weather, submerging their bare arms in ice water until the frozen limbs sounded like solid wooden boards when struck with a stick. To satisfy his curiosity about physical development and extreme cold, Yoshimura recorded the precise freezing times of an infant that was only 3 days old. As this diagram shows, the laboratory eventually solved the engineering problem of delivering these diseases from the air. Traditional steel bombs generated too much heat upon detonation, incinerating the biological payload. Their solution was to pack thousands of plague-infected fleas into fragile clay bombs that would shatter softly upon impact, allowing the insects to survive and spread. Armed with these new delivery systems, the doctors took their research out of the laboratory. They dropped these clay bombs over Chinese cities, successfully scaling their methodology from individual torture in a closed room to the mass extermination of civilian populations. This sprawling apparatus of death operated uninterrupted until August 1945, when Soviet forces rapidly invaded Manchuria in the final days of the war. Realizing the facility would be captured, Ishii ordered an immediate, panicked purge. Guards gassed or poisoned the remaining hundreds of test subjects, wired the 150 buildings with explosives, and incinerated as many documents as possible. In their desperate retreat, the staff opened the cages. They released roughly 3 million plague-infected rats into the surrounding countryside, triggering devastating outbreaks that killed over 20,000 local civilians long after the doctors had vanished. Following the surrender of Japan, the United States military realized exactly what Shiro Ishii possessed. American scientists were constrained by ethics. They couldn't freeze infants or infect adults with anthrax. Ishii had the exclusive human data they believed would win the next biological arms race. So top US officials brokered a secret deal. In exchange for handing over all of his hidden research, Ishii and his vast network of doctors were granted absolute, total immunity from prosecution. Because of this arrangement, the atrocities of Unit 731 were brought up exactly one time at the Tokyo War Crimes Tribunal before being permanently dismissed. No one from the facility ever served a day in prison. But the darkest irony of this entire cover-up emerged during the American peer review. Upon translating the stolen documents, US scientists realized the data was thoroughly archaic. The Japanese researchers were using outdated methodologies, and their findings offered absolutely no meaningful advancements over existing American research. Hundreds of thousands of people had been brutally tortured, infected, and vivisected, producing data that advanced the field of medical science by absolutely nothing. Shielded by American immunity, the leadership of Unit 731 quietly integrated back into high society. Masashi Kitano, the facility's second commander, became the head of Green Cross, Japan's largest pharmaceutical company. Dr. Yoshimura, the man who froze the fingers of a newborn, became a university president and was later decorated by the emperor. These respected medical professionals had taken the Hippocratic Oath to protect human life, yet they oversaw the facility's absolute darkest experiments. Unit 731 stands as a historical warning of what happens when human beings are reduced to mere data points under absolute power.